Hello, Brian Vietzke, and I'm talking about the whole reason why we do this thing, and that is to close the sale. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there that really pushes things more aggressive, towards like an aggressive close. And there'll be word tracks and nice little ways to spin around a close that someone may or may not give you that hopefully, it forces the pen, right? It forces them to make a decision. It really puts them in a position to try and say yes or no. That yes, if you do this for me, I'll do business with you. I'm not opposed to any of that stuff. I mean, let's face it, consumers have been trained to give us certain objections that force us as salespeople to try and come up with those aggressive close. Because, it's created to be a challenge, right? It's a negotiation, it's a process, it's part of the whole gig. And a lot of those tactics and approaches really should be embraced. But I'm not a fan of resorting to those tactics right away. The reason is, if you push for the close right away, and a customer gives you the money, and you gave up profit, and you got the deal, you got the commitment, you got everything you were looking for, and they said yes, and an hour and a half later down the road, they're driving away in the car. You did what you were supposed to do. You got them to say yes, and you sold the car. My question is, did you earn loyalty? Did you gain a referral? So going to that aggressive close all the time, does that compromise you getting your referral and those loyalty? Because the whole point of this business, the whole reason why we do these things is to build a residual income. And that is something that continues to work for you. So I don't always know that going for that aggressive close is the best way to do things. Certainly it's needed and there's a time for it. But I believe really trying to identify those objections and realize everything that they're telling you, are they just delaying what the real objection is? Are they just procrastinating a little bit? Are they throwing you something out there that just gets you to leave them alone for a tad bit without really trying to discover what's really holding them back? Because you did everything else you're supposed to, and you've brought yourself to this point. You should be able to discover what's holding them back. The traditional delays are going to be things like, I want to shop around. Can you blame somebody? There's a lot of product out there. I want to talk to my wife. Can you blame them? Or their significant other? I'd want to talk to my significant other as well. I'd like to wait a few weeks, or your price is not low enough. Well, hopefully if price is not low enough, I'm going to tell you honestly, the chances are you didn't build enough value in your presentation. And that really should not be an objection, but there still is ways to get around that. Now, I want to talk to my significant other. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, why should anybody be afraid to tell you that they want to talk to their significant other? It's an expensive purchase. It's a family decision. And with as much product and competitive product there is out there, can you blame someone? With life being busy for both parties and both people, is it really a negative thing that someone leaves their wife or their significant other home and does some research for them? No, it's not a bad thing. So why would you jump to trying to go for I don't need my wife here to sell you a car. What's the point of that? What does that help? What does that solve? I don't get it. Instead, what do you think your wife or your significant other would think about the vehicle and the features I've shown you? And then if they're not willing to give you any answers, offer answers. Do you think she'll find the safety features, helpful? Do you think she'll see the trunk, used for the trunk? Do you think she'll enjoy taking this thing on those family trips that you saw? Do you think she'd be comfortable in this vehicle? Yes or no? If they tell you no, well, what do you think she would like? If they tell you yes, well then great. Then set the tone and say, you know what, Mr. Customer? In my experience, when there's two parties that end up talking about a big purchase, there's always questions and concerns that come up. I'd like to be available to help answer any of those questions or concerns that you two may come across. Can we set up a time for both of you to come back and we can sit down and go over everything together? Maybe there's things that she doesn't like and there might be alternatives that we may not be aware of. Does that sound fair? What's wrong with that? Let's say they want to tell you that they want to wait a few weeks. Is there anything wrong with that? But there's got to be a reason why they want to wait a few weeks. So ask them, Mr. Customer, what is different a few weeks down the road than in the very near future? Are you coming into some money? Are you freeing up some money? Is your lease not due yet? Are you hoping to get a little more money for your trade-in? What changes in 3 weeks? Ask them. But a lot of times if you ask a question, they don't know or aren't ready for you to ask that question. So sometimes you have to offer answers to them and get them to say yes to that answer. And then once they've given you a yes, overcome it. An objection is set there for you to overcome. You are salespeople. You are in a position of creative way of solving problems. Take advantage of it and become a professional. I like to shop my other product. There's a lot of product out there. I mean, look at everything that Hyundai and Kia has today. Do you really think that that car, their product was that competitive 5, 6 years ago? Now it's setting new standards. It's forcing everybody else to try and keep up. And every time they come up with a new product, someone's trying to set a new benchmark to try and compete against. So the product, it's very competitive. Is there anything wrong with a customer trying to seek out competition? Sir, if you don't mind me asking, what other vehicles are you hoping to compare that car to? And then they're not going to ready, right? Offer some. Are you hoping to compare it against the Camry or the Accord? What are you hoping to compare that car against to? Now, what are you hoping to find different on the Camry that you didn't really like about the Sonata? Are you hoping to find that the car gets better gas mileage, better fuel efficiency? Are you hoping that it's safer? Are you hoping that it's cheaper? Well, I tell you what, I'm a very proud professional. I've done some of this research for you ahead of time. Follow me, and I'll show you how these cars stack up against each other. Take them back to your desk. But here's the deal. I've discovered some of these things, and I've set the tone. I didn't have to sit there and say, well, I tell you what, if I can get you to this price here, will we do business today? You gave up your profit to try and make something happen now. Hold on to your profit. Hold on to your referrals. Hold on to your loyalty. Hold on to that customer experience that you've worked so hard to provide since step one. Don't give it up. It's all for nothing if you go right away to that aggressive close to give up profit. Set the tone and try to take advantage of it. Ask smarter questions. Ask buying motive questions and really figure out why are they giving you delays. It's not really an objection they're giving you. They're stalling. They're just coming up with delays to help out there. So I'm going to dive a little bit more into these in some future videos. I just want to set the tone to the steps to the stale and let you realize there's new ways of doing things. So stick with me, and hopefully after the end you have some questions. Leave some comments. All right, let's try to figure this all out. Thank you. Again, I'm Brian Vietzke.